All right, you guys. So we are all done with day 2 of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. So today we went over the private family trust and we went over every single paragraph inside of this trust, as well as the schedule A, B, C, and D, and the certificate of trust. So we are all done, and I want to go ahead and open up the floor for Q&A so that I'm able to answer any and all questions that you might have based off of the information that we went over today, okay? So the first hand that I see is Cortez. No, Corliss.
Can you hear me? Hey,
Yeah. Hi, how are you? Yeah, perfect.
great, thank you. Um, Thank you for what you're doing, and I really appreciate all of this information. It was a lot,
You're
but
so welcome. Thank you for being here, Corliss.
okay, so I'm a foundational person. Like I've heard so much stuff going across, and in I don't know, one of the videos I listened to, somebody mentioned something about the all caps, strong man, FOIA, and all of these things. So I want to know how those relate to the foundational structure of the trust, because it's like you can use this here, you can use that there. So before I go creating all of this, I want to know the preliminary. Do I need to like set up anything, like separate, or create that all caps or whatever this is talking about before I the rest for the trust, like what we're talking about now? Because we throwing a lot of names around, so I want to make sure that those names are like put properly or however it goes.
Okay, so if you are referring to your all caps is a dead entity. And so that is when your name appears in all capital letters.
You
So we
said debt, like owing stuff.
no dead, like not living.
Oh, dead. Oh.
Yeah, so we don't use the all caps because you don't own the all caps, okay? So the all caps is an entity that was created by the US corporation, okay?
Okay.
So we don't use that. We use our actual natural living name, which is our first letter is capitalized, and then all of the remaining is lowercase. So that is referring to us as the living being. And so we type the name that way so that we're referring to the living person, the living soul, versus the all caps dead entity.
So all caps is death. Okay, and then the first and our last name is also the capital letter, just spelled how we traditionally spell our name.
Correct.
Okay. And then do we need to have like a EIN number or any of that stuff beforehand?
So that's optional if you want to. So when you're saying EIN, what are you referring to? So are you referring to an EIN for the trust, or are you referring to the EIN for another entity?
For the trust, for the
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to apply for an EIN. And then when I show you how to apply for it, then you can put it inside of your certificate of trust. So tomorrow we'll apply for the EIN for the nonprofit. Thursday we'll apply for the EIN for the business trust that we did yesterday. And then Friday we'll apply for the EIN for the trust that we did today. The reason why we do that is because we are only eligible to apply for one EIN per responsible party per day. So that means we can only apply for one every 24 hours or once a day. The responsible party for or on the EIN application with the IRS is the grantor. So I need you to keep that in mind because you're going to need the grantor's personal information as well as your personal information in order to obtain an EIN for the IRS with the IRS. So when we do the application online, they're going to ask us for the grantor's first name, middle name or initial if it's applicable, last name, and social security or tax identification number, whichever one is applicable.
okay.
And then for you, they're just going to ask for the first name, middle name or initial, if it's applicable, and the last name. So I'm gonna show you the process. So you'll see it tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, if you're not ready, then whenever you're ready, or whenever you have the grantor's personal information, or if you want to do it with them, or if you want to invite them to see the process, you can. And the calls are recorded, so you can just watch like on Thursday, and then on Friday, if you're ready to go and do it live, you can.
Okay, and then the address, because I know you mentioned like a separate address for, I guess, the business or the whatever trust, and then your personal address with the iPostal. So should I get one of those or something like that first?
Yes, you should. That is a wonderful idea, or decision. So all of these third parties are going to ask you for an address for the trust. They're also going to ask you for an email and a phone number as well. So if you want to go ahead and obtain those things, you can. Me and other community members, we've gotten separate addresses, phone numbers, and emails for the trust. We don't want our own primary residence, our personal email, our personal phone number that we're associated with to be associated with the trust. We want the trust to have its own stuff. It's its own entity. It is not us. We are not it. Okay. So, for example, with the IRS, they're going to ask you for a phone number and they're going to ask you for an address. So you won't be able to get your EIN unless you have those things. Okay. The same thing with the bank. The bank is going to ask you for an address, a phone number, an email, all these things. So you won't be able to get a bank account until you have those things, okay?
And that state doesn't matter, because I know y'all mentioned Wyoming and Delaware or something like that. With
So
this, no.
whatever state that you choose. So remember in the actual indenture, we have put so many times we've listed a state, right?
Mhm.
You need an address in that state.
Okay.
Whatever state that you chose, okay? So some people they do a little bit further research, and they like to choose states that have very favorable laws for trust. But you have to understand that those favorable laws are statutory codes, okay? And we're operating a non-statutory trust. So they just use it as, as like a second layer of protection just in case their trust is being sued, okay?
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Corliss. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Corliss?
Yes, Corliss. It's
Oh, beautiful.
phonetically correct. Yeah, Corliss.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. All right, next we have Ann. Hey, Ann. Hey,
Hey, how are you?
wonderful, splendid. How are you?
Very good. Okay, just a couple of questions. If we're moving money from our LLC account to our business trust, what's the best way to transfer that? Would it be like a check or just doing a bank transfer?
So you can do any way that you want. So I do Zelle.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I do Zelle, I do checks, I take out cash, I go deposit it to the other bank. I do all forms, wire transfers. I've done every single one. ACH, all of it.
Okay, so and then that's all just reported on the bank accounts. Okay. Next one is okay. What would be the best way to run this as a married couple? Would one be the primary and then one person will be the co-trustee, or the first trustee and the co-trustee? What would you say?
Um,
I know.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh my God.
I know it.
What happened?
I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. Let me keep my
Your
composure.
question too. I know it because we got spouses. We got how do we do this?
I know. Oh my God, it's just I'm so bad. Okay. So, okay, the what you guys want to do is you guys want to be co-trustees because if these are joint assets, then both of you guys want to have full control over the assets, and then you guys can still operate the trust independently, right? So for example, if something happens to your spouse, you're still the trustee and you're still able to control that house or that bank account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way that you want to structure it. And if you have two spouses that are wanting to jointly operate the trust, okay? Another thing that you might want to consider is also the two spouses having their own separate trust. If they have any personal assets that they had prior to the marriage, or if they are having any assets, you know, that they are acquiring during their marriage, but their marriage partner doesn't have any interest in those
Mm-hmm.
properties, assets or investments. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So one would just be the first, and the other one would be listed as the co-trustee.
Correct.
Can you also be the successor trustee as well? Can they be the same
Uh,
person? Co and
you
successor?
no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'd have to put someone else. Would a successor trustee be a beneficiary?
Yes.
Okay.
A successor trustee can be a beneficiary. Yes.
Okay. So in that case, that's what we would do.
Yeah. Most
Okay.
people, if they're putting their adult children as their successor.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. All
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Next we have Kamala.
Hi, Christine. How are you? Christina.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Nice class again. I mean, I'm watching it again and I'm learning so much. Anyway, my question is, for the business trust and the family trust, that was the one from yesterday and the one today. Do we have to have two different names for the trust? Do we have to give it two different name?
Yes, they are two separate entities, so they're not the same trust. They're two separate trusts. So you have to give it two separate names. So it's the same thing as if you have two newborn babies. You're not gonna name
Okay.
the same
So
exact thing.
are we gonna have two different EIN number for the business trust and the family trust then?
That is correct.
Oh, so it's gonna be more than one EIN number we're going to need.
Yes,
Okay.
you're going to get an EIN number for each entity. So an EIN is not required, but it's recommended.
Oh, okay. And can for trustees, like if you have a co-trustee, can it be one of the beneficiary? Can you use one of the beneficiary for a co-trustee?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All
But
right.
but there has to be other beneficiaries there.
And I only have two. So
Yeah, so there has to be at least one other beneficiary. They cannot be the co-trustee and the sole beneficiary.
okay. All right. Got you, got you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kamala. Thank you for being here. All right. Next we have Jen. Hey Jen, how are you?
Hi, Christina. How are you? Good to see you.
Um, yes, nice to see you again, as always.
Indeed. So I did upgrade from the do it yourself to done with you.
Awesome.
I have a few questions, and one of them is once you've established the Schedule A, where the grantor is ultimately handing over the trust to the trustee, right? That's the paperwork that's notarized, and then Schedule B is when you're adding assets to the trust. Does that need to be notarized, or you're just documenting it through the?
Yeah, the Schedule B doesn't need to be notarized. So it is it's a schedule within the trust documents that you're constantly going to be updating as you bring in assets or as you remove assets. It doesn't need to be notarized.
Does not. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking over to my notes. And then, so the following page then shows where you're divvying up the TCUs. As a trustee, can I also be part beneficiary to the trust?
Yes, you can. You just have to have other people or entities that are there. You cannot be the only person. So you can't be the sole trustee and the sole beneficiary. Okay, so there have to be other beneficiaries. And so this is to avoid you being accused for self-dealing, meaning that you created this trust and it's just for your sole benefit and, you know, things like that. So that's why it's arranged that way.
Got it. So it doesn't look like a conflict of interest, to your point. Okay. And then when you're putting real estate, like your primary residence in the family trust, do you need a land trust as well for additional protection?
You only need one trust, so you don't need to put real estate into two different trusts. Like you don't need two trusts on one deed. You only need one trust on one deed. And so we put our primary residence inside of the family trust. The family trust can hold all assets. A land trust can only hold land or real estate.
Got it. So it's one or the other. And to your point, with the family trust, you can list everything. Okay. And then, so somehow I misunderstood how to generate the EIN in the past. And I didn't have my grantor do it. Is there a way for me to correct that?
Yes, I will show you. So you have to fill out the 8822B, which is change of address or responsible party. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the name of the trust. So you're going to choose this first option right here, that number one. You're going to check number one because your trust is entitled to the 1041. You're going to put the name of the trust. If you're changing the address, you can change it here. And then the last part is the new responsible party name. So you're going to put the grantor's name in their social, and then you'll sign and send it over to the IRS. That's it.
And sorry, go ahead.
8822B.
Got it. And then, and is that form's used anytime you have to make changes to that information, right? So if the address changes or the phone number changes?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I think, okay, one more question. And I don't remember if this was something you had said or if I had heard it through someone else where vehicles are a liability, so it's highly recommended to have those in a separate trust if you have multiple vehicles like that.
Yes, it is. I said that. So, so you have high liability assets and low liability assets, okay? So generally houses and cars are high liability assets, right? So especially if you have like a renter, right? There's a slip and fall. You don't want 10 properties in the same trust as someone who's now, you know, going through like a slip and fall lawsuit, okay? The same thing goes with a vehicle. A vehicle is on the road every single day, right? And so someone can hit you, you can hit that person, right? And you don't want that asset in the same trust that you have other assets like a house, $1 million, crypto, all this other stuff, okay? So you want it to have you want to create one trust and then you put all your vehicles in that one trust.
Understood. Okay, thank you. That's it for today. I just want to say I appreciate you. I've been following you for a couple of years and been in your program for a couple of years now. And my 22-year-old just recently asked me for guidance on setting up a business trust and a family trust to help with his father's assets. So we're definitely making an impact on our younger generation, which I'm very grateful for, because he pleasantly surprised me when he said, it let me know that he's listening to the things that I'm sharing with him. So that was, you know, just a kudos to you that we're getting communities building bigger, including our young kids.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love to hear that, Jen. Oh my gosh. That puts the biggest smile on my face. That is so good. And that's exactly like, that's what you are. You're this beacon of light that you are intentionally like breaking these generational curses, and now your son is going to be walking in this space where he's a trustee and he's helping others, meaning his parents and his children and all this stuff, to be trustees and protect their assets. So it's so beautiful how we could really, like you said, impact the next generation and change their whole trajectory, because back in the days, they weren't even thinking about, business trust, operating businesses, leaving an inheritance, right? Building out a legacy with their name and stuff. So it's a beautiful thing to see. And I love you being here, Jen. So thank you so much for all the value that you're adding and for the impact that you're making in your family and in your community.
Yes, ma'am. And it's all thank you to you as our mentor.
Thank you. All right, next we have Roderick. How are you?
Hi, Christina. I'm doing fine. Good to see you again.
Yeah,
So I
nice to see you. Wait,
have several
why do
questions.
I feel like I've seen you in person? I don't know.
You seen me what?
In person, I feel like I've seen you in person. Did I
I
see
don't
you
know, but
in person?
you remember I'm Dennis' cousin as well. So we have
Oh,
another
yeah, yeah,
cousin that
yeah.
signed up, and then we're also talking about starting kind of with the young lady that went just before me, starting kind of a board meetings with the kids as well, with the young adults. So
Oh, yeah, that's
um,
so powerful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, wait 1 second, Roger. I have to say this because this is so true. I remember. Okay. So Dennis and his daughter, like they would come on the calls and stuff and
Chloe.
setting up their trust. And so I want everyone here to know, even Jen, right? To know to invite your kids, right? Invite your
Mhm.
children to the calls, to the workshops, because it's going to be absolutely powerful. So Jen, your son wants to open up the business trust, the family trust, like invite him to the call and have him watch the course as well, the recordings, everything, because that's how they're going to be trained. They need to go through the same training as you. And so I love how we have these duos. We have mother-son duos, dad and daughter duos, dad and son duos. We have it. So I don't know. I'm so excited. So yeah, you're right, Roderick. Okay, let's go.
So, several questions. So the
Yeah.
first one is, can you verify, I thought I heard before that I could be a trustee and a beneficiary as long as I'm not the sole beneficiary. Is that
Yeah,
okay if I, okay,
yes, that's absolutely correct.
okay. Also, when we're using the certificate of trust, am I walking around with the original with the seal on it, or am I walking around with a copy of it? With the seal, with the seal copied?
You're walking around with the original. So
Okay,
it's up to you how you want to do it. I personally walk around with the original, but sometimes you want to go to the extent where you have two originals, or if you want to do the copy. I haven't personally done the copy, but some banks are perfectly okay with it. They don't even like ask you. They'll just ask you to like upload it and stuff like
okay.
that. So sometimes you don't have to go to the extent of walking around with the original.
So with two originals, you got both of them notarized.
Correct.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
Also,
especially if you have a co-trustee, then you want them to have their original.
okay, that makes sense. And also, when I'm getting it notarized, do I need to have the entire trust there, or I'm just getting a certificate of trust notarized?
So you're getting all of the notary pages notarized. It's not only the
Oh,
certificate.
you're right.
So
Okay,
there's several other pages. Usually it's like 5 or 6 pages. So you're getting all of those pages notarized. So sometimes it depends on the notary, right? So some notaries, they don't want to see the whole trust. Some notaries, they want to see at least the cover page to know what they're notarizing, right?
okay,
So I would bring everything, but I wouldn't show everything. So the way that I do it is I'll have the first, 5 or 6 pages that need to be notarized. I'll have it on the
hmm,
top. And then I'll have all the trust indenture on the bottom. And so they don't have to go through the indenture. They just have to only see the first 6 pages on the top. And then the last page is the cover page. So that's all they're going to see is, hey, this is the cover page of the contract.
okay. Um, Another question, with the certificate of trust, should we remove the page numbers so when you take it different places, people are not seeing the 23 and 24 and possibly asking you where the rest of it is.
Yes, I've seen a lot of people get into that kind of a bind. So yes, if you
Okay.
move the page numbers, absolutely.
And with the notary, can you get it notarized before you get the EIN, or you definitely need the EIN before you get everything notarized?
It's up to you. So I would get the EIN first, because
Okay.
if you get it notarized, then you're gonna have to handwrite it in versus because it's already notarized.
All right. Makes sense. Beneficiary notarized. T trust beneficiary. That might be it.
Sounds
Okay. I think that's it.
all
All
right.
right. Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Roderick.
All right.
Next we have Angela. No, wait, who do we have next? Oh, Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just realizing that all of the trusts that I did before were wrong, which makes me upset because I'm gonna have to start all over. And I had some. I was trying to get my tax. I had some donations that I was going to get from last year that I was going to have put into my trust account. And I'm going to open the bank account this year, but now I'm thinking I'm going to have to do a whole new trust because yeah, the other ones, family trusts that I have were all statutory, and I'm reading the actual documents like you told me to. And it literally says codes in it. And I had myself as the successor trustee and the primary trustee, which I can't be, which is probably why it was rejected when I tried to take it to the bank as well. I'm just seeing you're opening my eyes to so many things that I did wrong. Following people who I thought I paid good money to.
I'm
So
so sorry to hear that, but I'm so glad that you're in the right place now, right, Laura?
spent like $4,000 in trash trusts now, I'm seeing.
I'm so sorry. One of my mentors, he spent 40,000.
Well, I feel better now. Thank you for that.
Right, please do. Please do. Yeah. But one of our not one, but a few of our community members, they spent 55,000.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
At least you get to fix everything now. That's a blessing in it.
Yes.
that part. So I'm not gonna be too mad at myself. I'm just a little like, oh, because I have to start the whole process over as far as getting it notarized and I feel like having to go back from it being an infant situation. So I had all my stuff based in South Dakota because I
Yeah.
heard they get trust laws. It's interesting. I'm gonna have to look to see if because I already have an iPostal in South Dakota as well.
Yeah.
However, my question is, okay, so yeah, the other trust I had did say family trust at the end of it too. So it's good to know that I don't have to have family trust necessarily.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the page numbers off because I had those on. Do I need to take that off of like the master documents or just the copies that I take to the bank? Because
it's up to you. It's up to you.
I know
So some people, what they'll do is they'll just create a separate document just for the certificate, and that document doesn't have any page numbers on it. And remember, the certificate of trust is a living document as well, because every single time that you change something, you have to create a new certificate. So if you change the address, you have to create a new certificate. If you add or remove a trustee, you have to create a new certificate.
Okay, that makes sense. And that makes me feel better too because I may need to shift some things. Do you know when you make the EIN, because I can't fully remember, do you know, does it say if it's a common law trust or statutory trust when you're making the EIN, or is that information not even included?
So there's a lot of different options. I don't have all the options. I don't know what all the options are. We'll see it Thursday and Friday. So they have about 20 different options for you to choose. So you just have to choose whichever one. So they got charitable trust, they have the living trust, they have the irrevocable trust, they have revocable, they have all those different options.
Okay, so I know I have the trust that I currently had was a living trust, living estate trust. And so I know that this family trust that we're doing, you called it like a pure trust, or you said it was, I remember you specifically said it was not a living trust. So
Yeah, so right, so yeah, it is. It's a pure trust. So it's a pure trust. It's an unincorporated trust. It is a irrevocable trust.
okay. And then if the trustee can't have power over the grantor, then like if I was trying to choose or cooperate with some people in the group to be grantor situations, how would we go about that? Because um I know that we can just, choose somebody to be the grantor over our stuff, but if we don't have any sway in what they do, or is that just like on paper? I don't know if you can I don't know if you can answer this or not, but
No,
hypothetically.
what are you referring to exactly though? Because I kind of feel like you're kind of like going in this little,
This group. And
huh?
I'll be your grantor, you be my grantor.
Mm-hmm.
Situation, wouldn't I have sway over them as a trustee then? Because I'm literally asking them to be my grantor for my trust.
Yeah, so it's actually the other way around, to where the grantor cannot have power over you. The grantor cannot have power over you. It's not that you can't have power over the grantor.
Okay. Okay. And then lastly, so if me and my husband have our own trusts and we wanted to be co-trustees of our family trust, could we have like listed as the trustees our trust? Oh no, better yet, we would be, as individuals, as living beings, we would be the co-trustees of our family trust. And then for beneficiaries, because we don't have any children, could we have our individual trusts as the beneficiaries?
Absolutely. You are not the entity is not you. The entity is the beneficiary.
Okay, and then for the birthday of the trust, right? For the benefit in the beneficiaries, what was that, Schedule D or one of those schedules?
Yes, it's the Schedule C, and you're going to put the establishment date. So whatever the establishment date is for that trust that is serving as a beneficiary.
Okay, and then like we'd also put like the EIN too.
Yeah, you can put the EIN, you can put the last four digits, usually to identify, they ask you for the last four digits. You could put an address, a phone number, so any contact information.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, thank you, Laura. All right, let's see, who do we have next? Stuart. Hey, Stuart, how are you?
I'm good, Christina. How about yourself?
Wonderful.
Yeah, you beautiful. I caught your content on YouTube probably in the past couple weeks or so. Really caught my attention just to see a black woman being able to pass on the knowledge so that we can, um better ourselves as a people and culture, like you said, and create these trusts to protect us. So I just had some few questions based upon what we went on today.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Stuart.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My first question was, I have a mentor that will be eventually passing on assets to me. So I was considering making them the grantor. But I was previously he owns a cleaning business, so I was previously a contractor for him a few years ago. Haven't done any other employment with him since then. Would that negate him from being able to be a grantor because of the subordinate relationship you was talking about?
Yeah, so it just can't be active. So because it's in the past and that relationship is terminated and inactive, you're fine. It just can't be in an active position now.
Okay. All right. And then so on the beneficiaries of the private family trust, those should actually be your children's or whoever you pick's name, not like I was thinking, like say in the case that once the trust expires and then they receive, like say you had a short-term trust and then it expires, and then they receive the assets in their personal name, and then somebody tries to sue them personally, now that puts all of the assets at risk again. So is it better to like have them create their own trust, like have your children as they start getting older, or if the person's already an adult, have them go ahead and set up another trust separately, and the beneficial interest will go to their trust versus going to their personal name?
That is absolutely perfect. So that is definitely the best way to do it. So a lot of us, we don't have the capacity to do it like that initially, especially like if our children are minors. But if they are, so if you're adult children, if you have adult children, then yes, have them set up their own trust and have their trust be the beneficiary of your trust. If you have minor children, which I have minor children, and I set up a trust for my minor children, but they can't operate their trust right now. But the reason I did that is because they have a YouTube channel. And so the YouTube channel is going to generate royalties, income, all of this stuff. So they already need a trust, right? So their trust is a beneficiary of one of my trusts. So that is ideal if eventually, if your estate comes to the point that it'll be terminated. So what you're saying is in the event that your estate is terminated, then the trust is going to end up in their name, and then they're going to be in, back at risk, basically. So yes, ideally you do want to have your children's trust be the beneficiary of your trust. So I don't tell people that just because I don't want to make it more complicated than it already is. Okay, people are out here scratching their head talking about 3 trusts, complicated. I don't want to add another layer to tell them that you want your kids to have their own trust. But absolutely yes.
Right. So okay. So if you do keep it in their names, or like say it's an adult and they decide to keep it in their name for whatever reason, the trust is still active. Say it's 100-year term, so it's still active. If they get sued personally, their interest in the trust is not at risk.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Okay.
don't, first of all, nobody's going to know that they're a beneficiary of a trust.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
So,
saying, so they, like if they have income in their bank account, they get distributions or whatever, and then they get sued for whatever reason, have a car accident, whatever, and then now the person's, the lawyer is going to start searching, hey, what assets does this person have? Oh, they got 10,000 in their account, they got they don't know that they have beneficial interest in a trust. I guess the only thing that would be subject to be lost is anything that's owned in a personal name, so an account, car, anything like that, I'm assuming.
correct.
Not the actual beneficial interest in the trust itself.
Correct. Another thing you can do too is your children can name, so later on down the line, if your children, if your minor children then set up their own trust, then they can have their trust be their inheritor. So their TCUs can go to their trust.
Right. And it's mandatory for every beneficiary to have their own inheritor, like as soon as possible, as soon as they would know, they need to put that in there so that in the case that they did expire, it would go to who it needs to without
Yes.
discrepancy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few more real quick, and I'm gonna let you go. So when we were listing on the beginning of the trust, when it was like the grantor is gonna say, hey, I'm putting $1 in the trust, I'm putting $100 in the trust, whatever it is. My concern was like, dude, like so then after that you went to the Schedule B, not directly after, but later on you went to the Schedule B and then started listing all the assets that you're putting in the trust, your residence, whatever, car, whatever. The grantor never has to have ownership to put it like on the part of it where it says they putting $1 in. They don't have to be like, if we say we wanted to put a large sum of money into the trust when we first started, they don't have to have possession of that money, like, or they don't have to have possession of that asset or that money or crypto, whatever they putting in.
That is correct. So the grantor, their only responsibility is the initial gift or the initial consideration. So that's why we make it $1, right? It's something of intrinsic value that they are easily able to put into the trust, and then they're done. Okay, so the trust is notarized, it's done, they walk away from the trust, right? Then you and anyone are able to place assets in the trust. So the trustee, your neighbor, your sibling, your parent, anyone can add assets into the trust. So that's why you're listing all of those assets outside of the initial consideration. All of the assets are on the Schedule B. So those are the actual assets that are inside of the trust.
Okay, cool.
So they
Cool.
never have to be held in the name of the grantor. The grantor is not the one that's responsible for transferring those assets into the trust. So it is the trustee. The trustee is the one who is going to accept those assets, and the trustee is the one who's eligible to place those assets in the trust. So when we say anyone, we mean anyone, any entity.
Okay. And at some point or another this year, I'm thinking that I'm probably going to become an accredited investor. So, you know, when you're trying to do real estate deals and things like that, people, they're going to want to see, like, they're going to want to see proof of funds, you know, et cetera, whatever, a letter from your accountant saying that you are accredited investor. If my assets are all tied up in these trusts, then does that apply to, like if I'm the individual going in, I would just be applying not individually, I would be applying as the trust. Hey, my trust has a value of
Is
$1
the
million.
accredited, yeah, your trust is the accredited investor.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, you want to get those investments, you want them to be held by the trust.
Okay, gotcha. And then, so should be my last question here. We were just somebody just mentioned it earlier. We're talking about risky assets versus lower hazard risk and higher hazard risk. If we put so I'm sure you probably know a Grant Cardone, a real estate guy. I was thinking about doing some investments with him as far as you know, putting it into a apartment deal and then having the beneficial interest go. I'm trying to figure out, like, because you said since it's like something like in that case, it's a partnership by thousands of people are invested in one deal. So it's not like easily liquid where, you know, your assets are more protected versus if I'm planning on investing in apartment buildings myself also. Like, so if I was to go get a deal, 100-unit deal on my own, and put that into, like, I wouldn't want to put that into my private family trust, even though that's who I want to be I want the asset to be there for them in the case that something happened to me. I want it to be owned by the private family trust. But you saying that that's a risky, it's higher, had somebody slip and fall, now they suing me, it could put everything in the private family trust at risk. Is that something that I'm guessing the best way to own it would be to have the business trust own a LLC own that asset, and then the business trust own that LLC, and then the money transferred to the private family trust that way?
No, so for the commercial unit, it's best to be held in the name of the business trust, for your family trust to be the beneficiary, so that your children will be able to benefit from being the beneficiary of the family trust that is the beneficiary of the business trust, and the LLC is just going to be the manager. So they're going to be like a property manager. So they're just going to manage the apartment complex.
Okay, so because I remember in one of your short videos on YouTube, it was saying you were saying that you don't want your business trust to own any assets though, because that's the one that's most liable to get sued.
So if you're operating it as a holding company, meaning that it's owning the LLC, right? So in this situation, right, that you're saying, this is an apartment complex. The apartment complex needs to be owned directly by a business trust. that business trust can very well own the LLC, but it doesn't have to. You could have a separate trust that owns the LLC, and the LLC is just in place as is there for management purposes, right? The apartment complex has to be owned by the trust. If it's not, it's going to go into probate. Okay. So now what I'm saying is that if you're operating it like a holding company, you don't want a bunch of other assets in there if you have a business and that business might get sued.
Right. So this will, in that scenario, owning apartment buildings, I would want it to be owned by a business trust that's operating as a
By
business.
itself. By itself, yeah. So that apartment complex will be owned by a business trust, and there will be no other assets in that business trust but the apartment complex.
Right, and that's the one that would be operating as a business, not as a holding company.
Correct.
Okay, got you. I think I just had one more question too. My bad. I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah,
So
he said, "My bad. I'm gonna let you go."
yeah, for real, yeah, because I know your time valuable.
He said,
I
"My
just wanted-
bad." Right.
Yeah. So as far as the first trustee, being the one that has the majority of the power, you said that it's highly recommended that you use a co-trust. You need a co-trustee bare minimum, and you need at least one co-trustee, at least one successor trustee, and then possibly an executive secretary to keep the management of the meeting and all of that. Is it a scenario where, say, I'm the first trustee and I'm trying to make an investment, then the co-trustee and the say the protector or the secretary, whoever is in the meeting, they decide, 2-1, we don't want to make that investment, or we think that you not making smart decisions, we want to get rid of you. Do they have the ability to outweigh the first trustee, like, since it would be a 2-1 situation?
So that's a really good question. So no one can remove the trustee, the first trustee. So the first trustee can remove a co-trustee because they appointed a co-trustee. No one can remove the first trustee, only a protector if you have a protector. So if you're worried about getting removed, then don't put a protector, right? Or if it's court ordered. So meaning that if your trust ends up in court and the court can remove you. Or a protector, if there is one appointed, they can remove you. No one else can remove you. Now, with the other individuals that's in there, for example, like the secretary, they don't have administrative powers. The secretary can only do what you allow the secretary to do. So the secretary doesn't have that power to remove you or even mention anything in that space of, no, you can't make that investment. That is not like within their scope, right? So within their scope, they're only allowed to do secretarial things, right? Which is paperwork, emails, mailings, stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I still got, it's a lot to learn. I've been taking in as much knowledge. I looked into the art of passing the buck. Some of those resources that you put, I found as much stuff as I can. Watched a lot of your videos thus far. I'm gonna continue watching them. So I know I'm gonna have more questions and everything, but I'm gonna let you go at this time. And I appreciate everything that you're doing. It helps.
Thank you for letting me go, Stuart. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you for learning. And we can definitely have a separate call if you have any more questions. Okay. I appreciate you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Next, we have Oren.
Good afternoon, Christina, Shining
Hi.
Star.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing
I like
well.
your glasses.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a and I'm gonna let you go. No, just kidding.
Yeah, right. That part.
But I just have a couple basic questions, or at least I think they're basic. Um, so I heard you saying, don't should I not use my family name in this at all? Is that your recommendation?
So I am gonna tell you don't use your first and last name.
Okay.
I am gonna tell you that your last name is very common
Yeah.
and that a lot of people choose to use their last name.
Okay. And as far as notarizing, do I need to notarize in the same state? Because I'm in Georgia. My the person I want as my grantor is here in Georgia, but my family's in South Carolina, and I'm thinking about having the whole thing in South Carolina. Does it have to be notarized in the same state that it's acting in?
No,
Okay, perfect. And also, I don't have children, so I'm considering what.
I'm available to be your beneficiary.
Me too.
Can you be on the
Right.
taxes
Moment
this year?
two. Moment
Can y'all
two.
be can y'all be on the taxes this year?
Yeah. So let me just make this disclaimer, okay? If anybody wants to list me as their beneficiary, I will accept the position. You just holler at me, okay? Let me know. And we have over 1,000 trustees in our community, and one person has made me their beneficiary.
Oh, look at you.
Okay, I'm done
So
with my disclaimer.
well, so what do people in generally in my case do as far as beneficiaries? I did hear someone say that I can make my own personal trust a beneficiary. I heard that, but
You can make another trust the beneficiary. So it doesn't have to be a human, but you just have to think about like all this stuff that you have, like who do you want it to go to? Like,
okay, and
say you don't have children, but like if you know, if the countdown began and you have 24 hours, who's that one person, right? Is it a
got
sibling,
you.
a aunt? Is it, you know, a best friend from high school? Who is it?
Okay. And in this case, like yesterday with the TCUs and today with the like I noticed everything was like blood related as far as passing down.
Yeah,
Um,
you can make changes, so modify it. So
modify it to make
yes,
sense.
modify it exactly. And I said that over and over again. Not everyone has children, so you have to tailor it to your specific situation.
Okay, so customized. All right. And so as far as me having my personal vehicle and you saying like that is a higher liability uh asset than other assets, which makes sense. I can obviously get sued over that much quicker than a financial account. So what kind of trust do I put my personal vehicle into?
So yeah, so if it's a vehicle that you're using for business purposes, you'll put it in the business trust. If it's not, then you can put it in another separate family trust.
Okay, into a separate family trust.
Yeah.
Got you. Those are
You
my
you
questions.
you just want to isolate it.
Got you. Got you. Just like any other piece of property, like a real estate or something, just have it in its own
Yep.
box.
Yep.
Okay. Love it.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome, Oren. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye
All
bye.
Hey,
right.
Christina, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to raise my hand, but I don't want to be rude if the next person had a question. Can you tell
Oh,
me how do I raise my hand? Because I don't see it.
you go to reaction. Do you see
Reaction.
reactions?
Oh, okay, I see it. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, next we have Jenna. Hey, Jenna.
Hi.
How are you?
Calming the overwhelm.
I know it's
It's
a
all
lot.
good. It's just
Yeah,
like cerebral,
right.
right?
I know. It's like being in university. My
It's
gosh. Well, we're only in day 2, right, Jenna?
I know. Hence my point.
Right. It's like, what's gonna
Yeah,
happen
the fire hose.
tomorrow?
So, but this is so brilliant and great. And I feel Laura because I haven't invested as much, but I have spent 2 years trying to figure out and resonate with the right person because I knew Irrevocable and all the revocable teachers out there. I was like, nope, nope, nope. So anyway, I'm grateful for you. Okay. I was trying to narrow my list down to the most important and what hasn't been asked. So, first of all, easy one. Does the family trust need to be in the same state as the business holding and the ministry and all of the ones we're doing? Do we just pick one state? Is that the cleanest with the same address?
Yeah, so generally people will pick one state, but no, it doesn't have to be. So I've seen other unique situations where they'll pick states where they have real estate, or they'll pick different states where they're actually going to be doing business, right? So,
Okay.
so if you have a business trust and you're actually going to have like a brick and mortar, then you want to choose that state, right? It does, so all three of your entities does not have to have the same domicile, no.
And if we do have the same, do we use one address, or did you say separate account? Like I use Anytime Mailbox for all this stuff.
So it depends on how you're going to operate it.
Okay.
So the business trust, if you're going to be operating it publicly to where it's a holding company, or you're actually operating business, then you want that trust to have a whole separate address from your other two trusts. So your other two trusts, which are like the nonprofit and the private, they're probably going to remain like, out of the public. And so you can have the same address for those if you want to consolidate.
Okay, perfect. And then, did you say somewhere if they sue the trust, they can get to the assets or can't?
So it depends. So a lot of people's misconception is that they think that a trust cannot get sued, but a trust can get sued. And I'm going to tell you that if they initiate a lawsuit, there is potential. So there is potential that, that the assets can be compromised. It depends, right? So with the irrevocable trust, it's very hard to penetrate through the trust, right? Because they would only be taking the trust to court. So they don't know what's inside of the trust, right? So they don't know what assets are held in the trust. They don't know what bank accounts, they don't know what stocks or anything like that. They would have to actually make the decision to penetrate through the trust and dismantle the trust to see what's inside of the trust. So it never really gets to that extent. So what I'm telling you is, yes, you can go through to a lawsuit and they can decide not to penetrate through the trust, and then you're fine and your assets are fine and everything remains, intact, right? And
Okay.
private. Or they can go down the other way. So that's why the most important thing about being a trustee is operating the trust the right way, to where they don't have no reason to actually want to go through your trust and force you to produce it.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And then, the main thing that I just really got to get clear on is, how do you sell this to somebody? Meaning like I don't really have family members that are appropriate for being a part of this whole conversation. So it's friends, it's people I know. I have a 20-year-old daughter, so I'm like, okay, she's the beneficiary predominantly, but can she be something else? She doesn't really want to be, probably, but I mean, like, or what have you. I have a friend that can be a grantor, but then you're saying I need the social security number. I asked somebody to be on the business, we have to have two people, or I can make it one person on the board.
You can, so with the business, you only need one trustee, but you are going to have a board of trustees. And so there has to be at least one other person on the board.
Just one other role.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
I asked my friend.
It could be you and a secretary.
Okay. So I asked my friend, I said, "Can you be on my board?" And she immediately was like, "No, I don't want to be a trustee." And I was like, "You're not." I'm the trustee. So I guess my point is, how do you sell this to people? Like, if the grantor has to give me the social, and like, it's more about like, what's their involvement? What do I have to explain, as because they don't know anything about it. So it's like, what are the expectations of those people, that then I can explain that this is all I'm asking of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay, so the first thing is that we have a trust checklist, and inside of the trust checklist, we have the duties. Yeah, the duties of all of those individuals. So for example, the duties of the grantor is that they have to notarize the trust. They have to put the $1 into the trust, so they'll hand it to you, and then they have to apply for the EIN. right? So with the
Okay.
EIN, you have to educate them and let them know, hey, this is an irrevocable trust. So you don't have no power, no control, no interest. So you have nothing to worry about, right?
And no taxes or anything, because
Oh,
obviously,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. No taxes.
Okay.
But because you're establishing the trust with me, right? Because there's two parties in the contract, because you're establishing the trust with me, both of our information has to be on file with the IRS. So to make them feel more comfortable, you tell them to apply for the EIN for you. So say you have to let them know. And so one, you have to let them know, hey, you have one of, besides signing and getting the trust notarized, you have to apply for the EIN. So you can do a paper application, which is the SS4, and submit it to them, or you can do an online application. And all they have, so they never have to give you their personal information. They just have to go down to the IRS and do it themselves, and then email you the EIN confirmation letter. It makes them feel more comfortable. Or you guys doing it together makes them feel comfortable, because they're not going to just hand you over their social. They're like, I want to know, well, where you're putting it, what you're doing, like this.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So so that should be, the easiest thing for them, that makes them feel more comfortable. So you can either, like, when we do the EINs on Thursday and Friday, you could have them pop in, because that's the first thing that we do. So we do it in the first 5 minutes of the call. They can pop in, they can see the whole process, or you can show them the video training that's inside of the course, to where they'll see the step by steps and pretty much like what's required of them.
Okay, and then the secretary, for instance, like if that person is required in both of the trusts, right? So far, the two trusts.
Yeah,
And it can be the same person.
it can. Yep, separate entities, same person.
Okay, and then so selling that role, obviously there's a little bit more involvement. There's no obviously dollar or EIN. I mean, social or any of that, correct? It's
Right,
just
no personal, right, it's no personal information. So, I
it's
mean,
like 1 minute, one meeting a year.
yeah, it's one meeting a year, exactly. Yeah, it's one
Okay.
meeting a year,
And
it
edits.
can be done, it can be done virtually. And, they don't necessarily have to do all of the physical, like documenting and everything like that. Like if you don't
We got
assign,
AI.
yeah, if you don't assign those duties to them, then it's not their duty, right? So
Gotcha.
yeah, everything falls back on you as the trustee. So if you
It's
don't have,
really me.
yeah, if you don't delegate it to someone, it's your job.
Okay, all right, thank you. That is so much, because it was just like a no, and I'm like, I don't think I explained it clearly.
Yeah.
And then, okay, next question is, I think you answered the card. Okay, benefit of making myself a beneficiary, because like you just answered this somewhere, and my daughter. So right now I have her as 100%. She's an adult at 20. But then you said somewhere in there just a minute ago about putting myself as even a percentage of being a beneficiary of the trust.
Yeah, some people decide to do that. So,
Okay. What's the benefit there?
you just have to, choose. The reason why we do that is if we want to receive gifts from the trust, right? And gifts are tax-free, right? Or if you want to receive a percentage of the distribution. Sometimes trustees want to receive a benefit, a percentage of the distribution, right? So when it comes to being a beneficiary, or when it comes to being a trustee, right, you have to choose how you want to be compensated, because you're working. It's just like you working a regular 9 to 5, right? You're doing all of this stuff for an entity, just like 9 to 5. You're doing all this job, that you're doing is
Right.
for an entity, right? So you have to be compensated. Now, the way that trustees are compensated is you can either you'll be able to benefit from the trust by all of the expenses, right? So all of the trustee expenses come directly out of the trust. That's one. Two is you would have to 1099 yourself. If you 1099 yourself, then you have to pay taxes on that. So that's the second compensation. The third compensation is you receiving loans. So you physically taking loans out from the trust, which are tax-free. You don't have to pay any taxes on those funds. And so that's a third way of being compensated, right? And so the fourth way is if you wanted to list yourself as a beneficiary and receive gifts from the trust. So it could be whatever amount that you want, right? 10,000, 15, 100,000, whatever that amount is, right? Because you're a beneficiary, you can receive it. And the fifth way is receiving distributions, right? So you will be entitled to distributions just like them. That's just more income for you, but that's taxable income. So
okay, sorry.
So three ways are tax-free, and the other two ways, which are distributions and 1099s, those are taxable.
Okay, and just question in the week, are we going through like a practical use? Because I feel like I know you know in the webinar you were like the trickle down effect of the tax protection or benefit, whatever, of doing all of this, the three trusts. Is that going to be discussed later?
So we don't talk about taxes in the workshop. I personally don't talk about taxes. So we have our CPA that talks about taxes. So
Okay.
he's gonna come in and do a Q&A. I'm trying to see if I can get him here on Friday.
Okay.
So that he's able to do a Q&A for you guys. And the only other thing that we have is just video trainings on us going through the 1041s where you're able to see all of the tax deductions.
Okay, all right, got it. Well, that was a huge help because I was like, I don't know the benefit of doing one or the other and then how to structure it. So, so very good. Thank you very much. That was extremely helpful.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jenna.
Absolutely.
All right, next we have Angelique.
Hi, Christina.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, how are you?
Awesome.
I'm fine. So you kind of just answered one of my questions about the 1041. So I already have everything set up, but now I'm confused about the tax part. So the 1041s, from what I understand, you don't have to file if you haven't made over $600. So I just started in December, so I don't have any income or anything in there. Do I have to file the 1041s?
No.
So I just do nothing. I just do nothing with those
Yeah, so
two trusts, the
you're gonna
family and business.
you're gonna have to file next year.
So next year I will. Okay, so then I could ask those questions for next year. What about the faith-based, the FBO? So that one is a 990 N. I just have to file 990 N for the FBO.
So you would only have to file, you could file the 1041 only if you produce more than 5,000 in income.
For the faith-based business one.
Yep.
Okay, so I haven't done anything I haven't made any income for anything yet. So I don't have to file any taxes for this year for last year. Correct?
Yeah, if you didn't make any income.
Okay. Good. And so I had a question about so the tax person, you said it's tax videos. You have videos on how to fill out the tax forms?
Yeah, so it's inside of the course, and then we have a master class on it. So he did it like last month.
Oh, last month's master class. Okay. And I had a question about Ally, because you said you love Ally Bank. And I have a personal account with Ally, but I don't see where they have a business account. How do I get a business account with them?
Do you have a business?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know if they offer business accounts. I like Ally for trust. So I've never I
Oh,
don't know if they offer a business.
oh,
A business account is not the same thing as a trust account. So I have a trust
Oh, okay.
account,
I
and
got you.
yeah, I show everybody how to open up a trust account with Ally, but not a business account. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, that's in your resources videos too. How to open up account with Ally.
So it's inside of the course under asset protection, and then the name of the video is create a bank account.
Oh, okay. Creative bank account, asset protection.
You have access to the course, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Asset protection, creative banking. Okay. I could look it up. And then oh, I had a question, but I think it was answered when you were saying about the liability assets. And you said if you have a lot of cars, don't put them all in the same trust. So you just open up when you have to open up when you have to start new trust to separate stuff. Family trust is the one you should do.
It depends on the operation of the vehicle, right? So if you're using this vehicle for business purposes, like if you're going to meetings, going to the office, all this stuff, if it's business purposes, then put it under the business. If it's personal use, then put it under a family trust.
Start a new family trust if you have a more than 2 or 3 personal vehicles. Start a new family trust.
Yeah, you want to just separate those vehicles from your family trust that has all of the other assets like the house, the insurance policies, and the
Yeah, all the goodies. So okay, so you just start another one. Just have a new name and start a new family trust so you can kind of separate some of those.
yeah, you don't want to have all of your assets in one trust.
Okay. All right. And then I had a question. That's my last question is I'm not very social media savvy. So as far as the telegrams and the Facebook, how do you, because I went on the Telegram before, but it seemed like it was the newer people and we all kind of were, we had questions. We all had questions. So I don't know how how do I learn from the Telegram people, and then how the Facebook too. How do you integrate yourself if you're not really don't know how to do that? To ask questions, I guess that's what it's for, right? So that we can mingle with them and learn what they know. I guess some of the senior people.
Yeah, so are you in the Telegram already, Angelique?
Yeah, I signed up. I signed up for Telegram and also your Facebook.
Okay, yeah, so so both of them have a chat feature. So for the Telegram, we have different sections in there. So we have one section on investments. So if you want to talk about investments, you can go into that section. We have one section just for general Q&A. So if you wanted to just ask questions, you would ask it in the Q&A section. And then some people, they'll DM you personally. So if you wanted to, if you see another, like-minded trustee and you want to talk to them off of the chat, you can just DM them separately and y'all can have a separate conversation. If you don't want it to be mixed and mingled with the general chat.
So when you download the app for Telegram and when I click on it, so I have to do it through because it's a couple of different people, it's a couple of different entities on the Telegram. So I have to go, I guess because I just don't know how to do it. When I first signed up for you, of course it opened up, it was your stuff.
Yeah,
It
so
was
our Telegram chat is private. You cannot search for it. You have to have the invitation link. The invitation link is in the emails and text messages. So 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 just send us a text asking, so the number where you receive like the Zoom link, just
yeah.
text the number back and ask for the Telegram chat link.
Okay. And the Facebook is the same thing like that. I have to have an invitation.
Yeah, it's private. Yeah,
Okay.
You're probably in the public one, and though the public one is not where the trustees are.
Okay. All right. I'll email and then maybe they can send me the link and I'll be able to get in. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you.
Thank you, Angelique. Appreciate you too.
Bye.
All right, next we have Mike. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hello, how are you again?
Oh, wonderful.
Couple of questions. One, earlier I saw what you were saying on the 88 on the IRS correction doc. You were saying to how to change the responsible party, but what about if you forgot to, you know how when you go from the grantor to the trustee, you're supposed to take that out because it automatically populates?
Yes.
So how do you change the trustee on that? If because I know the grantor or the responsible party, I saw you where you said you could change that, but what about changing the trustee?
I'm gonna tell you that you have to call them because I'm not sure how to update the
Okay.
trust information.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to
Yeah.
confirm it. So thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a specific form, so the best thing to do is just give them a call and see how you can update the name.
Okay, that's fine. And then have you seen instances where sometimes someone may take this type of trust structure and make it registered?
Make it register. So it depends on the purpose. So we've had several community members that have registered their trust. So it depends on what they're using it for. So one person has a school and so they receive federal funding. So I've seen it a
Right.
lot when it comes to federal grants and to federal money, government money. They're going to require you to be registered. And so you can still be a trust entity, but now you have to pull yourself into the Secretary of State and into getting registered so that you can still qualify for the federal funding and the government grants and stuff like that. So I've seen it several times with our community members, and that is just all depending on how you operate and how you getting the funding and the type of business organization that you're running.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that was pretty much dead on point for the reason I asked the question, because I was
Yeah.
thinking that I may have one that's kind of public facing because of I'm getting public funding.
Yes.
So, but then that one can be owned privately by one that's private. So
Absolutely.
it's just for the funding purposes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was
Yep.
dead on.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
Okay, thanks. And my last question was a grantor can also be an entity as well. If let's just say if I want to be able to control or change the grantor role at any given time prior to creating a trust. So let's say I set my LLC up as the grantor, because then in-house I could always appoint anybody from my LLC to actually be the signatory, just to
Yes.
give me that flexibility at the drop of a dime.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're welcome, Mike. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. Next we have Ellen.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you as always.
I'm doing good. How about you?
Listen,
How are you?
not bad. I noticed that since you go vacation and come back, your skin light up.
I know.
Couple more time, we can't see you anymore. You're so bright.
I know. I'm gonna be illuminating over here.
I know. Listen, I have a 3 comment, 1 question.
Yes.
Number 1, now about Mr. Oren. I said, now I feel better because I'm the same way. I don't have any kids. And then I have to go, I've talked to him and maybe add up something, put your name on it. But anyway.
Oh my God, that would be so wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll like it. But anyway, you like our kids anyhow, no matter what.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel adopted. I really do. I feel adopted. Okay.
Yeah, we talk about it a couple of times. You are adopted.
Yay!
You're angel from another planet. But anyway.
Thank you.
And then and before I let you go, one question. I know that's one other second comment.
That's why I love doing the workshop, because we have people from all walks of life and they're just so funny. You never know what's going to come out of their mouth.
No. I like it when he said before I let you go. I know. And from now, I know before we let you go.
We need to coin that phrase.
Well, he has started. We have to make one.
Yes.
And then and then another one was about the yesterday. I just want to make sure I wasn't planning a step on your toe, because I was trying to hosting this all new student to be comfortable to ask question. But as soon as you please ask your question, I see your face change. And then immediately I said, oh, she's not happy. She said, Tom, damn you, I want to go pick up my kids. We're talking.
Right, I know, right?
I see your face change on that. But then, then my question is, try to understand it, because one part I understood, you said sign and notarize first, then you get your EI number.
No, okay. So what I was saying was get your EIN and then notarize the certificate of trust, because if you notarize the certificate of trust without the EIN being there, then it's going to be blank and you would have to handwrite it in.
What about if I get my, this is the mistake I make on some of them, not in this one yet. If I got my certified, notarized, and then I got my EI number next day. And then what happened was I went type on it. Then I asked the lady, can you notarize for yesterday? Yeah, but she knows me. Do you think cause a problem in the
No, you're perfect. You're perfect. So there's no like right or wrong way of doing it. So the point is to get your notarized documents and to get your EIN. So you've accomplished both of them. So I just tell people that they want to get the EIN first in order to do one notarization versus two.
Okay, I got that. The last thing is for Mike. Mike, you put your number there. Is there means we can call you?
Right?
Sure, I'm all about networking.
No problem. I'm going to call you, leave a message for you, then call me back.
This is what
All right.
is for. Okay, you guys need to mix and mingle with each other.
Yeah, and I also mentioned it to you. I have, if the people in South Florida need help with the grantor or something, and I'm here.
Yes.
Well, I want to leave you all alone and let you go and take care of whatever you have to do. Beautiful, and then thank you everybody in this class and this team as well.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much, Homayun. Thank you. All right, next we're going to Brittany. Hey, Brittany, how are you?
Hi, guys. Good afternoon. I hope y'all are okay.
Yes, doing well.
That's good to hear, guys. I have a couple questions for you. So, how do you go about it if your assets are international? Example, Jamaica. Like we have a house and we have no there. How do I go about that?
That's a good question. The trusts that we set up are domestic, so they're designed to be used here in the United States. So you have to do research for the particular country that you want to use the trust in. Okay, so if they allow foreign trust in that country, then you're able to use it. Okay, if they don't allow it, then generally you're not. So that's the first thing. Okay, so you have to do your own research and your due diligence about the laws in that country to see if they allow the use of trust. Okay. The next thing that I want you to know is that we are going to make available an international trust for you. With the international trust, you can use it in any jurisdiction. So you will be able to utilize it, that particular trust, in whatever country of your choice. So it goes back to the fact that you just still have to do research in that particular country just to make sure that that it will allow for you to be able to to protect the properties and stuff. Okay, because every single country doesn't allow trust to own property. I've experienced it. So it's you know, you have, like I said, you just have to, whatever your circumstances, okay? So those are the two things that I need you to know.
Okay. All right. My other question for you. What if some of my beneficiaries are in Jamaica? Would that be okay? Because they don't have social security there.
That's perfectly fine. They do not have to be US based. They could be anywhere in the world. Anywhere.
Okay, that's fine. Last question. So, like I mentioned to you before, I'm into wholesaling land and houses and stuff of those sort. And I do want to create a business, but I was holding off on it because I wanted to make sure that, you know, is it I'm supposed to create the LLC or should I just use the business trust to just take care of that? So I'm kind of unsure. I know you go over it like a couple times and it still hasn't been clear. So I just want to hear from your mouth this time per my situation, you know, based on what I just explained. What do you suggest? What do you recommend?
So I recommend that you set up a business trust and that you do your real estate through the business trust. So
Okay.
if it's wholesaling or whatever other type of real estate that you're doing, you can do it with the business trust. So
Okay,
you're
so
operated as a business.
I don't need an LLC.
You don't.
Awesome, awesome. That's what I want to make sure.
Yeah.
Another thing. Let's say that I do get divorced, right? And my name change. How do I go about that?
So if you're setting up the trust in one name and then the trustee experiences a name change, then you're going to have a board meeting to document the name change, and then you will execute a new certificate of trust with a new name.
Okay, okay. Okay, I think that's all that I have for you because I already decided that I'm gonna use Wyoming. Is that how you guys pronounce it? Yeah, to conduct the trust. Yeah, I think that's all my questions that I have for you. Thank you
Okay.
so much for everything that you're doing. I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate you
All
being
right. One more thing. One more thing.
Yeah.
Sorry. So being that we're a community and everybody has the same mindset, being that we're here, right? Can we not use each other as guarantors?
Yeah, we have a list of grantors. So if you haven't gotten the list, you're going to get the list. So
Oh,
we have a directory, and then also the directory should be in the Telegram chat as well. But anyway, so we have a list of individuals that can serve inside of your trust, meaning that they have volunteered to be your grantor. They can be co-trustees, they can be board members, they could be beneficiaries. So whoever you want them, wherever you want them to serve. Yeah, we've already got a list for you. So check inside of your email, and if you haven't received it, you're going to receive it. Trust me. So we send it out every 2 weeks. So you should get it. You know, you're going to get it sometime this week.
okay, nice. Because I haven't seen it as yet, and that would be amazing. Because just like one of the personnel mentioned before, people from my community, they don't really know these things, and they're very, I want to say ignorant to, you know, wanting to, you know, establish yourself in a sense. So, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up in like some form of a roadblock if I should bring this to their attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And if you want to volunteer to assist your fellow trustees, then you can do that too. So we call it the circle of trust. Okay. So I serve on your trust, you serve on my trust.
Of course. Thank you. Anybody need me? I'm right here. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Brittany. Appreciate
Have a
you.
good one.
You too. All right, we have Lorraine.
Hi, Dana. Thank you
Hey.
again for
You're welcome.
everything. So I have two questions.
Mhm.
A TCU, can I use one of the trusts? Can I give TCUs to one of the trusts?
Yeah, you can give TCUs to whoever you want. So it could be an entity or a person.
Okay. And then my second question might be a little confusing when I'm trying to explain it, but I'm gonna try my best. So I'm trying to stack everything, and I just want to make sure that I'm stacking correctly. So I would like to have a holding company. Within that holding company, I heard you with the cards, so I'll probably put the cars in that holding company. Underneath the holding company, I'll have my business trust, family trust, and ministry. So that's 3 different trusts. And then from the family trust, I would like to set up trusts for my children. Does that make sense so far?
Sounds wonderful.
Okay. With IULs, can I, if I do under my family trust, instead of putting the IULs in the family trust itself, can I put it in the children's trust directly?
Yes.
Or
You
would it
could
make
put
more
it.
sense to put it in the family trust still?
I personally would put it in the family trust, but you could put in any trust that you want. So for example, and I have seen it with our community members, that if they are the insured, then they put that trust in their children's trust. So if that's the way you want to design it, go for it.
Okay, so family trust and then the beneficiaries be the children's trust. Or
Say that
no?
last part. Say that last part again.
I think I confused myself, but so I
Yeah,
would
so you're
put,
saying that so for example, if your daughter is the insured and you want to put her policy inside of her trust,
yes,
you can do that.
but it would make more sense to keep it in the family trust instead of hers.
It's up to you.
I
So
know, but I want
yeah,
your
it's up
expertise.
to you. Yeah, it's up to you. So what I just mentioned is that I will put it in a family trust.
Okay, alrighty, thank you.
Yeah, but what I've seen is that parents want their children to benefit from their own policy. So if you put in the family trust, then everyone's going to benefit.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next we have Melvin.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Thank
Melvin.
you so much. Can you guys see me? Oh, awesome. Can you guys see
Yeah,
me?
yeah, we can see you.
Awesome. Sending blessings and love to everybody here. I've
Yeah.
actually learned a lot more on the question. The Q&A has been very helpful. So thank you guys all for everything. This is very, very
Yay.
helpful. Actually, 2 of my questions have been answered already. I was gonna ask about the international property
Yeah.
and within the trust, and that has been answered. Thank you so much. And I also want to ask, if I have to bankrupt my LLC, what is the liability to a trust? Like
Mm,
if I have any.
well, no. So if you want to bankrupt your LLC, do not associate it with the trust, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people, they'll do that. If they're going to plan on dissolving the LLC, they'll dissolve it, bankrupt it, and then that's it. They're done with it, and then they'll create a new trust and go from there. Unless you need to move assets from the entity that you plan on bankrupting into the trust, then that would be the association. But if you don't have to move assets, then don't associate it at all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I got one more question. It says, so I think you already answered that, like keep everything separate. Which trust should
Yeah,
I keep
don't.
like majority of my like liquid assets? Which one should I keep like majority of my liquid assets? I'm guessing that you're gonna say like just, keep it separate, right? Like it
So,
depends on
so
how
do not put all of your eggs
everything in one,
in
right? In
one
one
basket.
basket. Right,
Right. Don't put all of your assets in one
right,
trust.
right.
But majority of your personal stuff goes in the family trust.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Beautiful,
And
beautiful.
then the family trust is the beneficiary of all the other trust.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. That was all for today.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much,
Thank you.
guys. Sending love to everybody. Thank you guys for all the
Yeah.
questions, for the beautiful community, and for just growing together. Thank you.
Yes.
Peace and love.
All right. Thank you, Melvin.
Awesome.
We feel the love and the light. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right. Next we have AA iPhone 13. And then I also wanted to know is I think it's Miss Long. Let me see, where is she? Yeah, Miss Quasa. Is it Quasa? Miss Quasia? I'm mispronouncing it. I'm sorry.
Hey girl, it's okay, everybody mispronounced my name. It's actually Quasia. Thank you so
Quasia.
much for this class. I really been enjoying it. You're you're an awesome person for doing this. Just thank you so much. But the other lady actually ended up asking you about taxes, which is the question I was going to ask you.
Okay, awesome.
I don't really want to pay taxes this year. Hold on. I don't want to pay taxes this year. I'm trying to get out of it. But yeah, you already have said what you said about it. So it is what it is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So next we have two more people and then we're gonna wrap it up. And I have I have less than 5 minutes. So we have Andres and then we have Derek, and then we are gonna wrap it up for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us for day 2 of the Wealthy Trustee. Andres, do you have a question?
Yeah, hi. Thank you.
Hi.
I've taken the class before, so I wasn't able to be here for all of the question and answer, all the class, but
Yay.
I had a question. If you're moving assets, for example, like a house into the family trust, and I think you've gone over this before, but just the insurance, should you get, well, first of all, insurance companies will write insurance for that, right? For the
Of
family.
course, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it can be, the policy can be owned by an entity.
Okay. And then so you can do that at any time, right? Like if you
Yeah.
form the trust and put the property in there and you waited a couple months, whatever it is, what it is, you can just transfer it in, or should you do it immediately?
You can do it at any point in time. So yeah, but I mean, so you don't want to procrastinate, you don't want to wait until forever. So you want to do it
Okay.
as soon as possible, and you want to transfer the insurance and then also the utilities.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other question I had was actually just for if you have a life insurance plan for like your son or a daughter, we have one for our son. You're saying then it would be you would want that in their own trust, like whatever his name is or whatever. That way he gets the benefit of the life insurance policy.
Yeah, so it's not that he gets the benefit, it's that his trust will get the benefit. And if his inheritors are beneficiaries of his trust, then it'll go that way. Because if he's the insurer and then he transitions, that's a death benefit, but he's no longer with us. Right.
Okay.
So where's his death benefit gonna go? Right. So is it gonna go to your family trust or is it gonna go to his trust? And then his children are the beneficiaries of his trust.
So then you would update the insurance company too, then, right? Saying that hey, the beneficiary,
Absolutely.
because right
Yeah,
now it's not it's actually his mother. So
correct.
okay.
You need to contact the carrier and ask them for the ownership and beneficiary change form. And so it's like 2 pages typically, and you're going to change the owner to whatever trust you desire, and you're going to change the beneficiary to whatever trust you desire.
Okay. And then the last one, this just kind of goes back to yesterday, but I just wanted to, if you're moving your business, if you want to move business assets, let's say vehicles and or equipment into a trust, are you recommending move the business into a trust, whatever the entity is, the separate entity, or if you actually wanted to transfer equipment out of the business into the trust? Because I had a little bit of a conversation about this with the accountant, and like, well, you have to provide fair market value and blah blah blah. And I was just gonna say, the equipment's going into the trust for $5,000, whatever it is, and it is what it is. It's not me buying it; it's a trust. So, it does it? I mean, they're stuck on statutory, public accountant type stuff. But am I wrong in that?
No, no, you're not wrong. So typically they will want you to do an evaluation for whatever the inventory is. So it is, I personally believe that it is the value that you place on it. So some people they'll go to, to a website to find out what the valuation is for that particular equipment or that particular vehicle. They'll go to like Kelley Blue Book, things like that. So it just depends on what you want to do. So you can do it either way. So you can do it that way to where you are selling the stuff to the trust, or you can do it to where you're gifting it and it's zero. So with the CPAs, they definitely want you to put a number to it. So it just depends on who's like assisting you with that process.
Okay. Yeah. They definitely do. They want support of value. And I guess it would just probably be, if anything, if there's any blowback, it'd probably go back onto the company saying, hey, look, you undervalued this and you owe, or something like that.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's pretty much it right now. The only other question was just about the private training, but I'll ask later, not right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate it. Wonderful class.
Thank you, Andres. All right, guys, so we're gonna wrap it up. It's 3:30, so we are all done with day 2 of the Wealthy Trustee Workshop. Today we went over the family trust, and we had a wonderful Q&A session. So I do have homework for you guys. The homework is for you guys to work on the asset inventory list. So you should have received it in your emails, and the asset inventory list, you want to work on it. It is a living document, a worksheet that you're going to use in order to go ahead and take an inventory of all of your assets, right? All of your digital assets, all of your tangible assets, all of your liquid assets, so that you know which assets qualify to go inside the trust and which assets don't qualify to go inside the trust and are going to remain out of the trust organization. So go ahead and start working on that, because you're going to need that for Friday when we go ahead and start transferring assets like properties, vehicles, and businesses, okay? So that is your homework. So now we're going to meet here tomorrow on Zoom, same time, same place, okay? You're going to receive an email 1 hour before the Zoom call, and it's going to have the Zoom link as well as the template for the 508c1a nonprofit trust, as well as all the resources that you're going to need for that specific trust. Tomorrow, we're going to set up the nonprofit trust. We're going to apply for the EIN with the IRS for the nonprofit trust, and then I'll show you guys how to become ordained ministers if you're intending on operating it as a ministry, okay? So go ahead and look out for that email, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on Zoom. Have a blessed day. Bye, everyone.